We have to talk about the range breakout trading strategy. They made over 17,000 euro of live trading profits. These are not demo profits or prop firm profits. These are actual profits.
Real cash, not demo. I rebuilt René Balke's gold range breakout in Profectus.AI, no code. And here is the real curve. And yes, I will give you the clown for free. This test covers 6.5 years plus 140% returns with a very clean drawdown. I will show you the full backtest, every trade, the exact building blocks within Profectus.AI. This one day, for instance, already pocketed more than 8% in my backtest, so watch how the entry behaved exactly. Check out only this tiny little block with such a big effect. I must admit, this 1% stop loss is a genius idea from René Balke. But don't forget, drop one tweak in the comments below. I will build the top voted idea and stress test it live in the next one. So do not post generic stuff, be specific. If the top voted tweak beats our baseline backtest without curve fitting, we will give away a 10k FTMO challenge to the creator. The criteria are strict, returns must be at least 10% higher regarding net returns, no larger equity drawdown, and build within Profectus.AI. Let's go! Let me quickly explain the trading rationale of the strategy and how this trading bot will trade. We're looking at the gold against the US dollar trading chart on the 15-minute time frame. The time frame does not matter that much, and you will understand in a second why. What is the trading bot doing? It is checking at 3-hour time frame, starting from 3 a.m. until 6 a.m., checking for highs and lows. So here, for example, we are at 3 a.m. This is 6 a.m. marked by this vertical line. And then what this trading bot simply does, it is checking the highest high and the lowest low of this time period. So let's quickly mark this up. So for example, the highest high has been at the beginning of this time range at 3 a.m. We'll put one line here. The lowest price has been around 4 a.m. So we'll put the horizontal line exactly there. The trading bot will do the same, pretty much detecting the price levels of this 3-hour time range. And as soon as price is breaking out, now in that case to the downside, a trade will be taken short exactly here. In this moment, this upper price level will be deleted. So even though if price would go again the other direction, the buy trade would not be taken. You can be sure it only takes one trade per day. What will it do? It will simply take 1% of the complete price level. We will enter here. 1% to the upside is somewhere here. So the price level will be somewhere in this area. The take profit is also not defined in this trading strategy. It will simply close the trade at 7 p.m. So here in this candle, that would mean the price until here. This would be the exemplary trade taken by this trading system. Now let's find an example where price is breaking out to the upside. Here we have the 3-hour time period from 3 a.m. until 6 a.m. What is the trading bot doing? Placing or recognizing the highest high. This has been here in this area. The lowest low of this time period has been somewhere here. Then we see prices breaking out to the upside. Then again, the stop loss is 1% of the price. Somewhere here at 3,321. Let's quickly adjust it to this price level. And then let's quickly mark when the position will be closed. It will be here. And we will close it exactly when this candle is also closing. So that will be somewhere here, with a big win. But this is also the reality of this trading system. The stop loss is predefined. What is a best practice? We really like to see that our downside is definitely protected and the upside is unlimited, what is quite nice. So we don't say we want to see a risk to reward ratio of 1:1 or 1:5. It is simply based on time. So when you have a big movement in the market, such as when we saw it, for example, here, relatively big, but it could be even bigger once in a while. We will also see it later in a visual backtest on MetaTrader 5. These are the moments where this system is really banking the big bucks for you. Going into the backtest report, based on gold, backtested on the past 6.5 years, starting from 2018. This is a long enough time period to backtest that we also really suggest in the community to go for it. You see here the inputs we used, not exactly 3 a.m. until 6 a.m., actually 5 minutes, and the close is not exactly at 7 p.m., but actually at 6:55. And these are exactly the inputs you can play around. Quickly highlighting one of the most important aspects of this trading strategy. In these 6.5 years, the returns has been roughly 140%, what translates in more than 20% of returns on average per year. We have a win ratio of a little bit above 50%, 51.43%. So almost 50-50 and a little bit more than that. And we are very comfortable with these numbers because the average profit trade sits at 80.82 and the average loss trade at only 69.97. So this is pretty much where the edge of that system comes in. Plus the drawdown is in a healthy ratio to the returns, sitting at 15.39% based on the equity drawdowns, which is higher than the balanced drawdown here. So this is really the max we have been testing here in this time period. Our return to drawdown ratio sits at roughly 9, and usually we speak of a viable system when we have a ratio of bigger than 2. This is the balance curve you can expect when you're backtesting this strategy and when you would have traded for the past years. You see there are some periods where the system is indeed stalling, but then you also see when the market is really moving in bigger steps that this is the periods where you also bank bigger, thanks pretty much to the open take profit price levels here. And what I also really like about this balance curve is it's not the most beautiful balance curve where you see like usually a straight line, which is always kind of a signal of either using a grid system, missing stop loss, so you're simply not realizing the losses. Here you do realize the losses, sign to you as a potential person who is interested having such a trading system in your portfolio. And the beauty is you can actually get it, as I already mentioned earlier, by simply checking out the link down below in the video description. And you can even add your own fantasy to it by adding new trading blocks, as I will explain in just a second how to do so. Just one of the many ideas, like high level, you can check, for instance, are the periods, why are we stalling here, or even in a slight downtrend. This is probably one of these periods where you are in a drawdown of around 15%. And then you can see, why did it happen? What can we add? What kind of indicators, price action patterns whatsoever could we add to the system to overall improve it? Now let me show you actually this trading system in visual mode on MetaTrader 5. Just to pretty much show you also what you can expect when trading this viable system on your own account. So here we are looking at the 15-minute time frame. And what I have explained before, you will now see fully automated on the charts. So it's a little bit more hectic, faster. And I think also pretty much the fun of trading such a system. We are now here at 2 a.m. You see the time on the right-hand side when I'm hovering over, which is pretty much showing us the candle time. So now for the next candle, stop it right here. We are now starting to detect what is the lowest, what is the highest price. So here pretty much the current lowest price would be here. Let's see what the system is doing further. And we expect the price at around 6. What is the time right here? 4:30. We'll stop detecting the highest and the lowest price level. We are here sitting at 5 a.m. The next, because we're on the 15-minute time frame, will close the look back period. What the trading system is doing fully automated, it's placing, not actually placing, but detecting the price level. Here has been the highest of the past 3 hours. This one has been the lowest of the past 3 hours. And now we will see what the system is doing. We see that the system is now breaking out to the upside. And it is taking the trade exactly at the price level of this candle's high. It is placing a stop loss here, which is exactly 1% of the complete price of gold. Now we will expect, as explained before, that this system will close the trade at 6:55 p.m. independently if it's now in a loss or a profit. It is simply closing definitely the trade when we're hitting here this stop loss, just in case of a, well, worst case pretty much, that we don't lose our complete account. And this is really what we want to see in a viable trading system, because then you can feel comfortable trading such a system long term. Now let's fasten it up a little bit. We are at 5, 6, and now let's quickly stop it here and go to the history. We see at 6:55 we closed the trade with a return of almost 9K. This is one of the many examples we can now watch here on the charts, how the system is trading. Let's run it through again to get another example of this trading system. We again pretty much saw here was 4 a.m. indeed the lowest price, and then somewhere here 6 a.m. ending the highest price. Now the price is breaking down to the downside, and we see how price is developing to the downside. The stop loss is quite far away, but we're comfortable with it. We set the risk to 1%. So the worst case scenario here is pretty much that we are losing 1% of our trading account if the stop loss is hit. And obviously these are one of the many settings you can adjust yourself either within MetaTrader or on the platform of Profectus.AI. Either you want to have a fixed risk, or what we're doing here based on a percentage of your complete trading account on percentages, or you want to simply make fixed pips, what is also sometimes a viable way to do it. So that is really up to you, and you can test around. For example, you can also play around with the stop loss. Do you want to have a big stop loss of 1%? It is quite ingenious, I must say, what René Balke was doing here, because to hit a stop loss that is 1% away from your entry point, the market really has to move against you. This is a very interesting way, not only for this kind of range breakout based on gold, but for so many other trading systems as well that you might want to trade or backtest. So I would definitely say keep this trading approach in mind for other strategies you build in the future on Profectus.AI, because I find this quite ingenious, I must say, to have such a stop loss in place. This is the DNA of this range breakout for gold, which you can get on Profectus.AI for free. You see here the pro version, which involves variables and inputs, so you can easily adjust the settings within MetaTrader and backtest it with different settings. In our team, we worked hard on building a system that is the same pretty much, but circumventing using variables and inputs. So also if you are not comfortable getting the pro subscription yet, you can also get it for free with some limitations regarding backtesting and input capabilities. So you can definitely check out the link down below in the video description, getting access to the free version of this trading bot. I will also link the pro version down below, which is definitely more fun and also giving you access to so many more interesting trading bots. Running through the DNA to give you a little bit of an upskilling session here, how to not only adjust this trading system, but also build your own trading systems from scratch, but also the many templates we're providing you here and in our trading bot library, which you can easily access here, clicking on it, looking for the trade bot library. And then you see we have many other systems, also another gold strategy built on price action and also a scalpel and grid strategy, even though I would not say it's a long-term viable strategy, but definitely a lot of fun to test yourself, backtesting, adjusting it, and there are also components in it that are definitely viable in combination with different kind of trading rationals. Then we have a different kind of breakout strategy presenting here to you, and also like, for example, momentum strategy, couple of management styles as well. And this library is expanding as we speak, so definitely check it out by simply clicking on the links. The new project will open up for you. It's really just click and drop. You can also export it here in the upper right corner, the execution file, get it run on your MetaTrader 5 platform to use these systems straight away. Now getting into the DNA, run in session. You see here we used the variable start and end trading. We define it here from 3:05 until 6:05. This is pretty much triggering the next block, so you read it from top to bottom like a decision tree. So here on the left hand side we see pretty much all those blocks that are, well, defining the conditions to enter long, and on the right hand side the conditions to enter short. Going through the blocks for the buy section, the trade rule, we simply check with this block, did we already enter a trade, yes or no? The variable buy trade is set at 0 by default, benchmarked against the value 0. If this is still 0, this condition block or this condition dot, which is the check mark, triggers because condition is true. And as soon as we take a trade, we buy. Here, modify the variable to 1, and then this condition would have been triggered, but it's not connected to anything. That is why this trading system is making sure to always only take one position per day. So you have complete control, and you can even adjust this yourself by playing around with the variables. So you are maybe also comfortable taking more trades than one. Then the next block is getting triggered. Here we simply check what is the current ask price, and we trigger this true condition as soon as the ask price is crossing over. This means the X and the bigger than symbol. So it's crossing over the highest price between the periods we just defined before. So the starting period and the end period. So between 3 and 6 a.m. And what do we want to get? So we want to get the price value. That is why we choose here the price value, not the time value. These are also the settings you can look for when you're building something different. But here we are interested in the price value, meaning what is the highest price between 3:05 and 6:05. Cool. Then we check what are the current open trades. If they are 0, fantastic. We trigger the next one. And this is where you can also play around with the numbers in Profectus and export this version yourself. Don't forget to adjust it for the sell conditions to have just an equilibrium, so to say. So if you indeed, in that case, no trades are opened, the buy now block will get triggered. And this is also pretty much what we have seen on the charts. We risk here a percentage of our balance. The risk is a variable. In the free version, it would be a number and not an input. So you can't adjust it with the MetaTrader 5. But here we had it as a variable, as an input. So you can also adjust it conveniently within MetaTrader 5. Next to the stop loss and take profit. The stop loss is based on the percentage of the price. Here's a variable again, stop loss. And the stop loss is by default defined by 1%. Now let's put it back to the input. Take profit. We don't have a take profit, right? Pretty much what is our take profit is that we are auto closing the open trades here on a fixed time on end trading. End trading is again a variable because it's a pro version. In the free version, we would simply punch in a 655. So it would be simply a number. So you can't adjust it in MetaTrader. Since we are using the inputs, you can easily do that within MetaTrader and backtest it. Maybe you want to close it earlier or later. This is the beauty of having inputs and variables. Now this block is important in combination with that block because this block is changing the buy and sell trade variable to 1. And here this block is pretty much just making sure that we stop entering more trades after one trade has been taken, either sell or buy. We don't really care. But we also want to trade the next day, right? Because otherwise we would only take one trade. So at 6:55, we would again change these variables back to 0. So we unblock the values in these two blocks on the upper side, so we can take a trade to the up or downside. This is the DNA of the trading system. Definitely worthwhile checking out down below in the video description. Ask your questions not only in the comment section, but also reach out to our Discord community. You can join by clicking on Discord community or asking your questions via the help center. Well, first of all, check it out yourself by just looking up the help center articles, but you can also reach out to us by sending us a message. But definitely, I think worthwhile is also checking out the Discord community.